What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Clark Tank post GDC edition. So earlier, I guess in September, Valve changed things such that it would not show in your review score. So at the top of your Steam store page, if you hover the mouse over that thing that says very positive or whatever, it would show you the exact percentage of positive versus negative reviews. And they, in September, changed it so that people who got the game from someplace other than Steam, it wasn't counting those reviews towards your score, which was interesting because it made it so that, you know, if you do a humble bundle or something like that, you're going to get a whole bunch of people who probably don't really care that much about your game, and that might drag your review scores down. But they've changed it further last night, so now they're no longer including reviews by users that receive the game for free, such as via a gift or during a free weekend. So again, that you know, people who got it via gift, they may not care about it as much, your game, as if they had purchased it with their own money. And of course, people who played on a free weekend, I didn't even know that they were allowed to review people who got the game or, you know, tried the game from a free weekend. That's kind of weird. At GDC, there was a small Valve event, so I got to talk to some Valve folks, and I'm not going to discuss exactly what we discussed because I imagine they want it to remain private, or some of it anyway. But basically, the last stream that we had before GDC, you guys may recall that there was like 8 really good games that came out during the 2 weeks prior, and we were shocked that so many high quality games had come out, because normally we get like 1, sometimes 2, sometimes 0, you know, and in those 2 weeks we had 8, which is like 4 per week, which was extremely high. So at first, oh, music is still off. At first I was concerned about that because, you know, when we look at the Hypestagram every week, we see like there's so many games coming out every week. This is scary, but you know, we also look at micro trailers and we see that a lot of them are not actually great competition for us. They're not high quality, you know, indie games on the level of Darkest Dungeon or Hyper Light Drifter, those sorts of games, right? So, you know, they're not going to outcompete us, most of those. However, when we saw those 8 games come out, they were 8 solid games that, you know, are competition. But then we saw that they were all actually in the top 25, even though they had launched some of them on the same day. I think 3 of them launched on the same day, and they were all in the top 25. So that reassured me, and hopefully you guys as well, that sure, there is a big flood of games these days, but Steam seems to be big enough to support all of them. They all still, you know, are going to go on to make, you know, in the low millions at least, some of them more than that. And launching all at the same time didn't really seem to have an impact. So I think we attributed that perhaps to Valve, you know, making their discovery updates so that people on the main are seeing on their Steam store page, they're seeing stuff that's more relevant for them. So, you know, I think that allows the wealth to be spread around a bit better and for people to find the games that they're really interested in. But one of the things that I brought up with Valve at the event at GDC was, you know, I told them about this and that it was super cool and encouraging, but that it works really well for, you know, launches, but it won't work as well for big sales like the Steam Summer Sale and Winter Sale and things like that, because those things are still very kind of curated and manual. It's not dynamic in the same way that the main page is. It's not, you know, those Steam sales are not showing to you just the types of games that you're interested in. They're just showing you like blockbusters, basically. And I told him, you know, that won't scale in the same way as the, you know, the Steam store page, the front page will, and that's the concern. So, you know, they didn't commit to anything, but it definitely sounds like, you know, they're aware of this, and you know, unsurprisingly, you know, it's the way that their store is going is making it, you know, better and better at recommending things. So I expect at some point we will see that happen. I think that part of the problem is Indiepocalypse is canceled. That's right, Roy. We need the clip from Pacific Rim. We are canceling the apocalypse. But edit it for Indiepocalypse. So yeah, I think at some point we'll probably see that. I think the problem is why they haven't already done it is because to do that, it's a lot more server load to do a dynamic, you know, recommendation for every single person. And during Steam sales, people are just hammering the servers. Like the Steam servers have trouble keeping up sometimes, even with a non-dynamic page, right? So I think that load may be a part of it. But another indie friend of mine said, well, they could actually kind of pre-calculate a unique sale page for you in advance, which I never thought of before. So I wonder if maybe they're considering that, and maybe we should suggest it to them if they're not already. But yeah, Steam DDoSes itself, exactly. So it's hard for it to also produce dynamic results for you while it's getting just crushed by traffic. But yeah, they could, you know, spread it out over a long period of time and pre-calculate for you the types of games that you might want to see on your front page during the Steam sale. So we'll see. I think it's going to happen eventually. I wonder, you know, exactly what form it will take. But you know, if that doesn't happen, then we do have the kind of shelf space problem like we used to have in retail. Like there's only so much room on those shelves, and you have to compete for that shelf space, right? So we have that same sort of problem with Steam sales, because, you know, it's fixed every day, the number of games that they can show you. But if they make it more dynamic, then that will allow, you know, the wealth to be spread across more games, which is great for devs, but also it will make it so that players find the games that they are excited about. So that makes it better for fans as well, which I think Valve, you know, they're iterating towards happier fans, and as they do that, it seems to be helping, you know, developers as well. So you're bummed they didn't do Chinese New Year this year? Yeah, I am too, because we localized to Chinese, and I know you did recently as well. We localized to Chinese in December, and I was thinking, yeah, like this will be great for the Chinese New Year. Maybe we'll get, you know, extra featuring, especially because now you can say only show me games that are localized in this language or that one. So yeah, presumably the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year sale was going to be good, but I think it was just too close this year to the winter sale. So, you know, they don't want to have multiple giant sales within a month. It's kind of weird. So, you know, people who purchased Necrodancer recently, yeah, well, this Necrodancer still sells surprisingly well, especially since our DLC. It's doing quite well. And we did a visibility round recently for that update that I was just talking about with hard mode and the new character Diamond. And, you know, we're getting fewer views, but a much higher click-through rate. And I did this visibility round without a sale going on at the same time, because I wanted to see. Last time we did it with a sale going on, and again, fewer views than previously. We would get like 9 million views or something like that, and a click-through rate of like, I don't know, 0.3 or something like that. And this time we got only 1 million views only, but a far higher click-through rate is like 1.7 or something like that. So you ended up getting more clicks. And this time I did it without a sale, and the same sorts of results. Fewer total number of views, but a higher number of clicks. So basically, Steam is using its real estate more efficiently now. So like when it shows you something, you're more likely to click on it. So it's not just you scrolling by and going like, whatever, I'm not interested in anything on this main page. It's showing you stuff. Like I imagine that is one of the things that they check every time they make changes. You know, what is the percentage of people who click on something on the Steam store page when they get there? Because if 10% click on something and then they make an update and now 15% are clicking on something, that is huge. You know, you're getting people to check out new stuff, you know, be engaged with games that they wouldn't have been engaged with before. So one other thing I wanted to talk about before we get started here, a game called Loot Rascals came out recently, and there was, you know, a decent amount of indie buzz for this game in the circles that I follow on Twitter and things like that, but this game has not performed very well. So let's check out the trailer and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Alright, I'm here to tell you about Loot Rascals, the video game I'm in. You wander about randomly generated levels, zapping baddies to steal their cards.
Randomly generated. Yeah, I really want to play this game, and I almost played it for the stream today. But I really want to check out SimAirport because it's doing well. Loot Rascals. Yeah, so this is made by some well-known indies. Yeah, it sure sounds Scottish to me. This is made by some well-known indies, and there, like I said, there's lots of buzz, and clearly, you know, it's a well-crafted game, like with a lot of love put into it, but it's not selling especially well. People are saying that it feels a bit like your skill is not as important as random number generation, which some people even say about Necrodancer, but those people would be wrong, because in Necrodancer it is 100% about your skill. Even if you don't ever get any item, you can always win. Whereas with this game, I don't know. We would have to play it and see. But I think if that is the case, then that certainly would piss me off as a player. You always want to feel like your skill has an impact. So yeah, if that is the case, then that is a downside. But I think another one is that, you know, this art is super well made. Like, it requires a lot of skill to make stuff like this. It has a very unique style and interesting. It stands out, which is something we always talk about. You have to stand out, right? But I think that this is just not the kind of art style that works well on Steam. It's like cute and whimsical. It's super well made, but I just don't think that it is a great fit for Steam's audience, unfortunately. Like I said, the only one that I can think of that sells well that is super cute and whimsical is Slime Rancher. But it's also... it's not whimsical to the same degree as this. Like, the slimes are really the only cute thing about that world. The art style reminds you of the style they use in many children apps. Yeah. Yeah, I think that may be the biggest factor here, is that when people see this game, or even, you know, the little thumbnail in the popular new releases and stuff, they may think kid game and then just be turned off. So, alright, let's get to the Steam Top 50. If you are new to this channel, what we do is we analyze the Steam Top 50 to try and figure out what the trends are, what types of games are selling and what types of games are not selling well. This is a cool tool made by YJ Alexis that allows us to check out the Steam Top 50, the average games that were, well, the games that were in the Steam Top 50 over the last 24 hours on average. So Wildlands came out since we last streamed and it's doing very well. CSGO is a perennial. H1Z1 is just freaking killing it these days. The last couple months it's been in the charts. Alright, time to take this off. Getting too warm. What even is this Nier Automata? I've been seeing some people streaming it. I haven't actually watched, so I don't know what it's about. So it is coming out in 1 week. And I don't know how people already got it, but has a fairly large following from the first game. Okay. Alright, well, let's check this out. I have no idea about this game.
Something I need you to do.
Yeah, it looks cool. So it's kind of like action RPG. Alright, let's keep rolling. So Left 4 Dead is up here just because it's on sale. No Man's Sky, I know they've been making some pretty big updates, so I wonder if they did an update to coincide with this sale. They're still fairly negative reviews, but hopefully they can claw that back as they make updates. Path of Exile New League started 1 week ago, and they're doing a sale. Okay, thank you for the details. So yeah, Path of Exile, it's normally in the charts, but I guess it's a bit higher than it would usually be. So yeah, Dota, it looks like just something went wrong with the data recording here. I don't think it actually did this. It's not physically possible to do this. But yeah, Dota's normally in the charts, although it's a little higher than usual. Yeah, what is with these graphs? YJ, where are you? There's a bunch of new stuff in Slime Rancher and also on sale, so good to see them doing well. Alright, Crusader Kings 2. So Crusader Kings 2 came out with a new DLC, so I bet we're gonna see a bunch of Crusader Kings spam in the charts here. Dead by Daylight's perennial. Wow, it's got a trapezoid or something in there. It's perennial, but it's even higher right now because of it's on sale. More Crusader Kings. Okay, so Blackwake. We talked about this 2 weeks ago in our last Clark Tank. I want to watch this again, because this is one of the only games that we saw released, you know, one of those 8 games that sold well, that's still this high in the charts. So what the heck? Why Blackwake? Why are you still so high in the charts? This is a streamer game, yes, exactly. And after watching this trailer here again, we should check out Steam Spy just to see, are lots of people streaming it and YouTubing it? Is that why it's still up here? YouTube stats. 4 million views in the last week. Okay, so yes. YouTube. Wow. Yeah, and it's like it went up at launch and has just been remained high. What about Twitch? A decent amount. It spiked a bit higher and then leveled off, but still, yeah, interesting. YouTube moves sales for games, but Twitch doesn't. Yeah, not as much, Lars, it's true. Twitch doesn't move games? No, Twitch does move games, but not nearly as much as YouTube does. I have found that as well with Necrodancer. I don't know why that is so much. I think just you get more views on YouTube. Like if you look at the total number of views that VODs or even streams get on Twitch compared to how much, you know, a popular streamer gets or a popular YouTuber gets, the YouTuber gets probably like 10 times more. Warframe is perennial free-to-play seller. Look at all this Crusader Kings stuff. Crusader Kings junk. There's GTA 5. More Crusader Kings junk. Holy smokes, just all of it is selling well because they released the DLC and I think they had a sale for a while. So For Honor, despite the really bad reviews, and I've been hearing people saying that just the servers are glitchy and lag problems and things like that, but obviously people really like the game. So, unsurprising to see it still in the charts. I expect it will be. Hopefully they can fix the other problems. Dawn of War 3 is coming out in April, so a month and a half away, and it's already in the charts. That is pretty impressive. So we can expect to see this around for the next few weeks or months. Conan Exiles was #1 for quite a while around its launch, and it's slowly falling off. People getting tired of watching naked barbarian dongs? I don't know. Rainbow Six Siege is a perennial seller. Ark, also perennial. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. The Hunter Call of the Wild. Okay, so we saw this in our last stream, and it's still hanging around, slowly dropping off. But yeah, it's interesting that there is room for, you know, a more hardcore sort of hunting sim. Red Faction Guerrilla Steam Edition. So this is an old game, 80% off. Same with Darksiders. Full Spectrum Warrior. Wow. This is a really old game. Why is it suddenly in the charts? Full Spectrum Warrior 10 Hammers. What even is this game? Titan Quest is in here because it's on sale. More Crusader Kings stuff. Red Faction Armageddon. So a bunch of things on sale again. Shadow of Mordor. Did they just drop the price? Middle Earth. Shadows of Mordor. Oh, Game of the Year Upgrade Edition. Is this new? No, that's not new either. Alright, well, Rust is perennial seller. Lego Worlds. Planet Coaster is a perennial seller, so is Team Fortress. There's Gary's Mod. Gary's Mod. Just barely hanging in the top 50. I think, it might be kind of glitchy because there's so many showing up in here. FTL, because it's on sale. RimWorld's perennial. Sniper Elite, which came out recently. And then some more Crusader Kings stuff. Okay. Do I know how that great looking platformer last stream did? Are you talking about Hollow Knight Part-Time Indie? That's what we were just talking about, yeah. So Hollow Knight, I'm a bit surprised by it's still hanging around. Like I said, a few days ago it was at the bottom of the top 50, but because maybe despite it being an indie platformer, maybe it's got good retention, and it does. Wow. So like these numbers I think are better than Necrodancer's, which Necrodancer is like highly replayable. So that was 11 and 7. Yeah, and Necrodancer's is 10 and 4. So yeah, Necrodancer has some people that play it for like 3,000 hours, and I don't think that Hollow Knight will ever get people playing for 3,000 hours unless they're speedrunning it, I suppose. But yeah, that is an impressive result for a platform game, and that explains it. Like, I think if they didn't have retention that high, it would not be possible for it to still be in the charts, you know, that many weeks after its launch. So good on them. They're showing that it is possible to design a indie platform game that keeps people around for a long period of time. It's great. It is time to play SimAirport. Let me fire it up. Alright, so how do we get people to come into the airport? Do we need to make, like, a sidewalk? So this is our sliding door to sidewalk. Okay. Oh, there's people. They're putting their bags through. Whoa, look at all these people. Office desk. Ticketing desk. Here we go. I wonder if I just put a queue here, will it work? Let's try. This looks like the UI could use a little work and it might be interesting. Yeah, well, it's interesting that this game sold reasonably well already, despite these pretty serious flaws. How the heck are these people so happy? They should, if you miss your flight, like you ever missed a flight, you would be so pissed. Is there free food? Oh, wow, they're sure liking these vending machines. I've never seen so many people. Uh-oh, did it crash? I think it may have crashed. Well, it's funny, it crashed at exactly 4 o'clock, which is like usually when I stop streaming anyhow. So, well, all right, what can we learn from that? I think, honestly, that's a good sign because, look, Project High Rise was much more polished than this, and it did well. And this game actually sold reasonably decently, despite, you know, this lack of polish and the crashes and, you know, being very hard to understand. I think if you're an indie making sim games, this is encouraging, right? All right, I think that is going to wrap it up for this this Clark Tank. But thank you all so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. I always learn a lot more because you guys are here with me, and it's just fun chatting with you as well. So I hope to see you all again in 2 weeks. Have a great weekend, everybody. This Clark Tank is over.